Hello friends, I welcome you to EPG Pathshala. My name is Dr. Amit Katoch and I am working as Assistant Professor in University Institute of Hotel and Tourism Management of Punjab University. Dear scholars, I would be taking module number 17, that is Tourism Planning, Significance, Constraints, Grey Areas and its Scope, under the paper Tourism Planning and Sustainable Development. After completing this module, the scholars will be able to know about the tourism planning and its significance, understand the constraints of tourism planning, understand about the various grey areas in tourism planning, and know about the scope of tourism planning. Firstly, I would start with tourism planning. Tourism is one of the numerous activities in the society or an area that calls for planning and coordination. Tourism planning, like any other planning, is purpose oriented, determined to accomplish some of the objectives by corresponding to the accessible resources and programs with the necessities and desires of the people. Tourism as a whole is an activity which is judged as the segment of physical, environmental, social and economic planning. It is seen as a business activity in which public or private and individual stakeholders have different perspectives to plan it. But the role of government agency in developing countries is central to tourism planning. Planning in tourism is setting and achieving the goals, keeping constraints in mind such as time, money, etc. There are many approaches involved in tourism planning such as bottom-up approach, collaborative, interactive, integrated, etc. If you talk about planning in tourism in developing countries, it is generally taken by the consultancy firms. But it has only been in 1990s that tourism has been thought as a serious planning activity. Tourism in the present context and situation has to be established and managed in a proper, controlled, sustainable and integrated way. This starts from sound planning. Tourism can generate numerous socio-economic and ecological benefits if the negative impact of the phenomenon is avoided. There are many examples in the world which have suffered the brunts of unplanned and mismanaged developments, and it has resulted in the loss of competitive value of those destinations, causing a negative impact on environment, society and economy of the place. Further, also at some locations it has resulted in loss of appeal on part of tourists and loss of support of the local community. Tourism planning occurs at all levels: international, national, regional and for specific areas and sites. National and regional planning establishes the policies, physical and institutional structures, standards for developments, while the local bodies generally implement them. In 1992, Gunn spotted out that tourism industry was the result of the tourists' desire to visit a particular location and culminated when his desires got fulfilled. According to Gunn, planning helps tourism by critically reviewing the various choices available and to choose the most appropriate plan so that the destination achieves the desired results in terms of economic and social aspects. Hence, whenever planning is involved in tourism, the various things important are reviewing the ground position with regard to resources available, that is capital, material, human, setting objectives, appraisal of the various plans, selection of the most appropriate plan in tandem with the local community support and approach, and achieving the desired results. This also involves formulation of national tourism policies in which key guiding principles and objectives are set along the possible strategies which would help the tourism industry at local, regional or national level. The tourism development plans by preparation, possibility and level of government body is segregated into three main levels, that is National Tourism Development Planning, Regional Tourism Development Planning and Local Tourism Growth Planning. Tourism area planning is a global coordination arrangement for the balanced exploitation of tourism areas. Tourism area planning by planning levels is distributed into the overall planning, complete plan, site plan, etc. Now I will discuss about the significance of tourism planning. At all levels of tourism, in order to achieve success, planning is vital for managing and developing tourism. This has been exemplified by many tourism destinations throughout the globe, that planning that also long term can only lead to economic, socio-cultural and ecological benefits to both local community and the tourist. Uncontrolled tourism activity without any planning has resulted in serious negative impacts, that is environmental, socio-cultural and ecological. Further, it also leads to repercussions among the hosts and guests with regard to local resources and affects the carrying capacity of the place. Also, this results in loss of competitiveness in terms of infrastructure and insane environment available at unplanned destinations. Here, everyone sees his economic benefits, ignoring the socio-cultural and ecological benefits. The countries for which tourism is a nascent or new activity, then planning can help in ascertaining its resources and provides a blueprint for further development. It can also prevent mismanagement, poor planning and loss of authenticity of valuable inventories such as cultural, heritage, cuisine, festivals, events, and the countries where tourism is an important sector. There, the tourism planning can rejuvenate this segment and improve its potential practicability. There are manifold benefits of undertaking planning at national, regional and local level. They can be summarized as follows, that is, development of linkages and coordination of tourism with other sectors through policy formulation. Ascertaining the objectives and tourism policy in order to realize the goals. Preserving and conserving the resources, whether they are natural, cultural, man-made, their efficient and effectual use so that they are also kept for coming generations. Planning can also be used as a tool for improvement and rejuvenate existing old-fashioned or poorly developed tourism areas. Integrated tourism policy at national, regional and local level can give great results. It helps in making a tourism framework for effectual execution of hard work both by public and private sector. The public creates an environment conducive for tourism development, while the private sector pours financial assets for developing tourism. It helps in the harmonized growth of the various elements of the tourist sector through coordination and involvement. It helps to maximize the benefits, that is economic, socio-cultural and ecological, to the local community, poor people, etc., and help in the impartial distribution of the benefits to everyone. It helps to minimize the negative impacts of tourism, if any. Right kind of planning can guarantee that the natural and traditional resources for tourism are indefinitely maintained and not damaged or degraded in the process of development. Developing focused training services. Attaining controlled tourism development requires distinctive organizational structures, promotion strategies and marketing programs, legislation and regulations and fiscal measures. Planning provides a balanced basis for development, staging and project programming. These are important together for the public and private sectors in their investment planning. It promotes rational thinking and development for tourism growth and expansion. It also helps in formulation of a skeleton framework which directs the tourism development in terms of facilities, infrastructure, services and attractions. It further helps in formulation of tourism policy, plans and effective management of tourism areas facilities. It further helps in creation of guidelines and standards which will help in preparing detailed plans for developing tourism destinations and circuits. Further, it helps in incessant monitoring of the developmental activities of tourism. Also, it positions tourism as a major engine of economic growth. Developing suitable marketing plans with realistic, practical and sustainable targets. Employing sustainable environmental practices. Reviewing of tourism policies and their evaluation. Development of planning criteria and analysis of resources. Providing adequate recreation opportunities and facilities in the tourist destination and tourist circuits. It further leads to proper land use and planning of the physical spaces. Further, it helps in allocating an adequate level of funding for tourism programs. In order to develop tourism, planning is done at all levels of tourism through policy formulation and planning activities. Though the nature and type of planning varies from one country to other, ranging from developed to least developed countries, but the tourism planning should have a firm foundation for which good research and study of the grassroots level is very essential. Also, the plans need to be revised again and again based on the study results and likely future trends, but retaining the basic overall structure. Now, I will discuss the constraints in tourism planning. The constraints in tourism planning can vary from one location to another, and depending on the local resources present or not. There may be a large number of constraints which may hamper the tourism planning process. They may vary from institutional to logistical to technical to cultural and to technical and distributed in excess of apparently never ending continuum. It may be less involvement of the local community in the tourism planning process, scarcity of financial resources, lack of expertise, lack of research activity, lacking organization skills, need more time, limited natural resources, destruction of flora, fauna and biodiversities, and decrease in the satisfaction level of the local community or vice versa. The constraints in tourism planning are lack of community participation. The unwillingness of the people to participate in the tourism activity limits its future. The tourism planning, and in fact tourism can only give positive results if it receives people support at every stage of tourism process. Limited budgets is a constraint in tourism planning. Usually government provides low or limited budgets to the tourism, and this makes tourism a very limited process. Accuracy and reliability of the market area for planning and management is also a serious problem in tourism. If the market information is incomplete or hazy, then also the goals of the tourism planning may be affected. Low priority accorded to the tourism sector. No doubt, there has been a positive mindset with regard to the tourism in the Indian economy, but still this sector deserves much more than it has received. The poor quality of infrastructure and facilities present at the attractions also act as a constraint in tourism planning and development. Quality of transportation service. The quality and quantity of transportation service is not very good and needs great improvement. Multiplicity and higher level of taxation also gives less inspiration to the tourism entrepreneurs and creates more and more obstacles for the tourism industry. Next constraint is facilitation of entry of tourists at ports. The lengthy procedures involved in immigration should be made reasonable without giving the visitors much botheration and anxiety before they visit the country for tourist purpose. Poor communication and awareness is too a constraint in tourism planning. A sound plan without clear communication can lead to duplication of endeavors and creates differences among the stakeholders of tourism. It can also lead to occurrence of feuds among the stakeholders and create further complexity. Conflict of interest. At times, the tourism policies can lead to conflict of interest among the stakeholders and create questions at the very start of the tourism planning. Hence, whenever policies are framed, the local community should be involved at all levels so that tourism policies not lead to planning failures. Management constraints in tourism planning also occur, such as legislature constraints and adherence to rules, regulations, executive orders. Tourism planning will have to abide rules and regulations related to environment, wildlife and local resources, and at times it also creates impediments for the overall tourism project or plan for a particular tourism area or destination or a tourism project. Environmental constraints. The presence of wetland, certain wildlife species, sensitive habitat, steep slopes, unstable soil, hazardous geologic conditions, tectonic movements, seismicity, critical habitat, lack of land base are the limiting factors or constraints in tourism development, and their incidence can create problems for infrastructure development and also tourism planning. Carrying capacity constraints. Carrying capacity is the capacity of a place to accommodate fixed number of individuals without affecting the ecology of the place. But if this threshold increases, then it affects the ecology and resource base of that place. Carrying capacity can be divided into 4 types, that is social, physical, environmental and facility related. So, all these carrying capacity are adversely affected if the number of individuals increases. This is one of the biggest constraints in the tourism planning, as it is often violated in tourism. Apt understanding of the ground realities. The proper understanding of ground realities can also lead to creation of tourism policies and tourism planning, which leads to no results. Hence, the policies become rudimental, often at its inception stage. In activity dilemma, for the tourism planning process, the nodal agency involved may have large infrastructure, bureaucracy, manpower involved, but may suffer from the fear of change. This mental state creates a lot of obstacles in the tourism planning. Now, I will discuss the grey areas in tourism planning. Although there is indication that nearly tourism destinations have established without sensible, strategic and united planning, many of them have experienced unexpected effects which have led to their decline or downfall. Many explanations are offered for tourism planning, not least the support that planning is the finest way of increasing the vital life cycle of a destination by offering a means of anticipating variations, changing to the demands of change and discovering new opportunities. Some of the likely effects of the lack of commitment to integrated tourism planning as a result of the grey areas in tourism planning include physical impacts, which are permanent alteration of the physical environment, permanent alteration of historical or cultural landmarks and other resources, overcrowding and congestion, pollution, traffic problems, poor or deteriorating quality of facilities and services. At some destinations, the lack of tourism planning also lead to the grey areas in form of human impacts, which are minus accessibility to services and tourist areas for local residents, rising in local hatred, hatred of tourists on the part of local communities, hammering of cultural identities, lack of education of tourism employees in skills and hospitality, lack of knowledge of the benefits and profits of the tourism to the destination area and host community, safety and security affairs. At some destinations, the lack of tourism planning also leads to grey areas in the form of marketing impacts, which are failure to capitalize on new marketing opportunities, erosion of market shares due to the actions of competitive destination areas, lack of sufficient awareness in prime markets, lack of a clear image of destination area in potential markets, lack of cooperative advertising among individual operators, inadequate advantage taken of packaging opportunities, lack of sufficient attractions and events. At some destinations, the lack of tourism planning also lead to the grey areas in the form of organizational impacts, which are a disintegrated approach to the marketing and improvement of tourism often involves aggressive groups, lack of support amongst the individual operators, insufficient demonstration of the tourism industry's interests, lack of support and funding from the local public authorities, failure to act upon critical issues, problems and chances of common interest to the industry. Modest or poor travel information services to the tourist. All in all, unwanted expenses, heavy rush, sanitary conditions, infrastructure arrangements, transport facility, safety and security, accommodation, guidance, corruption, pollution, local language problems and many more factors acts as grey areas which hamper tourism planning. Now I will discuss the scope of tourism planning. Tourism planning has come a long way in the tourism development process, but still there is ample scope for betterment. The scope of tourism planning can be explained as transport, accommodation, tourist activities, product development, tourism zoning, marketing and promotion, institutional framework, statistics and research, legislation and regulation, quality standards of tourism services. Now we would start with transport. The accessibility plays an important role in tourism planning. It provides mobility to not only the tourist but also the tourism policy or plan. If the means of transport such as land, air and water are developed, it also makes ground for implementing the tourism plan at the grassroots level. In case of accommodation, accommodation is one of the most important part of the tourism industry. It also increases the carrying capacity of a place by accommodating the more number of tourists, but currently in India, if we want to increase the flow of tourists, then we also need more hotels or accommodation facilities to accommodate them. Hence, the tourism plans should give a priority to develop them. Number 3, tourist activities. The tourist activities such as adventure activities, non-adventure activities, experiential activities in tourism such as in rural tourism, village tourism, geotourism, ecotourism should be given more space in tourism development, and these should be developed along with tourism concept as it gives more innovation to tourism apart from enhancing the variety of experience to the tourist. Number 4, product development. The diversity of the tourism product should be enhanced to give variety of experience to all tourists, suiting their age, taste and culture. Also, emphasis should be laid down to develop the tourism product through quality gradation and innovation. Also, importance should be given to develop native products which are unique, indigenous to the land and helps in portraying the image of the land in terms of its culture, heritage, cuisine, festivals, folklores, traditions, dance forms, dresses. Number 5, tourism zoning. Tourism zoning is an important aspect involved in tourism destination planning. It divides the tourist destination into various regions and segregates the tourist activity in those regions. Number 6, marketing and promotion. Marketing and promotion is an important element in tourism planning and development. It needs more improvement in case of India, as the tourism product of India is very diverse, indigenous and unique. Still it lags in attracting the number of tourists. So surely it is an area in tourism planning which needs great attention and careful planning. Number 7, institutional framework. Tourism development in India is institutionalized at central level, state level and local level, but still there are large lacunas associated with it. The coordination of the institutions is delayed due to non-streamlined procedures, bureaucracy, nepotism, corruption, and it hampers the state of tourism in the country. 8, statistics and research. the tourism planning in India still requires more research base and groundwork prior to making the tourism policies, and hence if we want to improve our tourism planning and tourism policy, the research wings for the tourism industry have to be made sound and strong. Number 9, legislation and regulation. The existing legislation and regulations need to be revised to match up the current environment. Also, the legislations should be made keeping in mind the perspectives of the stakeholders. They should not be made just by keeping the tourists in mind. Point number 10, quality standards of tourism services. There has been great growth in the tourist infrastructure, but in order to increase the tourism competitiveness, the importance have to be given on the quality of services and facilities. Also, the pricing of the tourism services is a big question, and they should be made affordable, keeping in consideration not only the foreign tourists but also the domestic tourists whose role can also not be ignored. Now I would like to sum up the whole module. Tourism planning plays a pivotal role in the development of the tourism. It helps us to plan tourism at all levels in a coordinated and proper way. The important aspects involved in tourism planning are reviewing the ground position with regard to resources available, setting objectives, appraisal of the various plans, selection of the most appropriate plan in tandem with the local community, support and approach, and achieving the desired results. Though the nature and type of planning varies from one country to the other, ranging from developed to least developed countries, but the tourism planning should have a firm foundation for which good research and study of the grassroots level is very essential. Also, the plans needed to be revised again and again based on the study results and likely future trends, but retaining the basic structure. But there may be a large number of constraints which may hamper the tourism planning process. They may vary from institutional to logistical, technical to cultural, and to technical and distributed in excess of a apparently never-ending continuum. Also, the grey areas or loopholes of the tourism planning needs to be plugged to achieve the desired results. Unwanted expenses, heavy rush, sanitary conditions, infrastructure arrangements, transport facility, safety and security, accommodation, guidance, corruption, pollution, healthcare, local language and many other factors act as grey areas which hampers our tourism planning. Tourism planning has gone a long way in the tourism development process of India, but still there is ample scope for betterment in terms of marketing, transport, accommodation, infrastructure, research, legislation, institutional framework and quality standards. At the end, I would like to say is that problems are hidden opportunities and constraints can actually boost creativity. Thank you and have a great future.